So yeah, it looks like CD Projekt RED is backpedaling, but in a very good way. And this also bodes well for the upcoming expansions in the future. I'll explain in just a moment. Plus, we're going to be talking about upcoming events straight from CD Projekt RED. This is official stuff, and we're going to want to remember the dates coming up because we're likely going to be hearing about Cyberpunk in some way, shape, or form. And we got a bunch of other stuff to talk about as well. But first of all, let's start out with the official stuff straight from CD Projekt RED. Check it out right here. It says, "We stand with Ukraine. Join us for a charity stream supporting humanitarian aid in Ukraine. We'll be gathering donations, and that's going to be Monday, March 14th, 12 p.m. through 8 p.m. CET time. A pretty big stream. Check it out. Links in the description below. Save the date and time, and definitely hope to see you there. But let's talk about this one right here. You may remember this when Cyberpunk first launched. This one comes from Marky Mark 13. It says, PSA, CD Projekt RED is no longer calling Cyberpunk an RPG and is now calling it an action-adventure game. I remember when they changed the tagline in the Steam description for Cyberpunk to basically an action-adventure game. They removed RPG. Everyone began to panic. And then you kind of basically saw what was happening with Cyberpunk, that the life paths weren't fully fleshed out, the systems weren't balanced in the game, and it seemed like something happened there, either with marketing or the thought process with Cyberpunk 2077. I think it was a combination of both, but check out the update more. Recently, here it is, it says, after Cyberpunk's big update, Dev says it's an RPG now, but fans differ. And if we go here straight to the community Reddit, we have V. Ricken, who shows this. It says RPG is now back in the game. Description, it says Cyberpunk 2077 is an open world action adventure RPG set in the dark future of Night City. And I think this is great news because it shows the mentality and how CD Projekt RED is thinking going forward, that they want to identify their game as, yes, an RPG, that they are again backpedaling in a very good way. And this is good news also for the two upcoming expansions, because I'm thinking that they're going to really go all in on the RPG aspects of Cyberpunk 2077 going forward. And you have to remember that the success of Elden Ring, in my opinion, will drive them in the direction of an RPG even more in the future. So I think that we will be seeing a lot more from the RPG-ness, if you would, of Cyberpunk fully coming out here for the expansions. But, you know, a lot of people say that they have a long way to go. If you see some of the responses here to this post, we have Drevin47, who says, bold of them to suddenly call an RPG again after simply rebalancing a few perks. And then we have Only Brief, who says, well, you can customize your apartment now. There are 4 colors to choose from. Clearly this meets RPG status. So a lot of you still feel that, yes, they have a lot of work when it comes to the RPG stuff in Cyberpunk, especially, I think, especially when we're talking about, of course, those life paths, that a lot of you guys want to see those fleshed out even more. All right, so let's keep talking about exactly what they're doing right now. We have Mr. Capodicio, who says, huge change that no one has noticed. The snozberries taste like snozberries. No, seriously, he says, so I think people might have made this connection, but after a curiosity look, I haven't spotted anyone, but it's massive. Go ahead, log into the game and go to your local, well, whatever it is you're inclined to go to. Thrift shop, outdoor market, upscale boutique, whatever. Go there and look at the clothing. Then look at the mods. You'll notice that the clothing and the mods are just natural abilities. They are now much more likely to correspond with its functions. Your Netrunner suit helps with hacking. Your gas mask protects against chemical damage, and your tactical vest reduces your reload times. Your eyeglasses protect against explosive damage. Your Kabuto armor gives you protection against melee damage. It's not true in every instance, but it's true often enough that it can't be a coincidence. So yeah, people have noticed that the RPG-ness is definitely flowing, I guess you would say, through this new update 1.5, that there's brand new stuff that they're really tapping into with that RPG element of this game. So I hope they continue this, and I personally think they're headed in the right direction, of course. And yes, we still need a transmog system, considering the new changes have, you know, caused some issues. But yeah, definitely headed into the full-blown RPG nature that needs to be unlocked for Cyberpunk 2077. Now we need to talk about the calendar events for CD Projekt RED. If we head over to their website, they have this right here. And if we scroll on down, we have upcoming events for CD Projekt RED. Check it out. We have separate and consolidated yearly reports for 2021 coming up here on April 14th, 2022. And then, of course, we have consolidated quarterly report for May 26th, and then another date here for September 1st and November 28th. These dates are going to be crucial because I think since they are going to be talking to investors, they always want to impress them. So I think during this time, hopefully, we hear what's next for free DLC. Perhaps we finally get like firm release dates for the upcoming expansions, although I don't know if that will happen anytime soon. Honestly, if we do get a release date, it would probably be in the summertime. That's what I'm going to assume right there. Now, also talking about Cyberpunk 2077 and what it's doing outside of the game, you have to remember that they're working on Cyberpunk Edge Runner for Netflix. I cannot wait for this. It's coming up here sometime in 2022, but we have no updates. And I promise you this, whenever there's like a trailer or whatever, I will keep you guys posted because this is supposed to be really, really good. It's by an amazing studio. They've proven themselves time and time again, and I'm excited to see what they do with an anime on Netflix. I can't freaking wait. I've been honestly very impressed with what they've done with the Witcher franchise with Netflix, both on the anime side of things and the live action series. So I'm actually very hopeful for what they can pull off here with Cyberpunk. Now, a lot of you guys know that they came out with some really cool action figures, or were supposed to. Well, those are out right now. Check it out right here. So you can go get those. We have Adam Smasher, Judy, and Pan available right here. And check them out. We have $90, $60, and $60. Those are the price points for those action figures right there. Now, this was really cool. I discovered this post right here from You Ink Trash. It says, what if Cyberpunk was released over 30 years ago? Art by me. And it's Cyberpunk 2000. I love this whole look right here. And in fact, you know, I think CD Projekt RED is wanting to do spin-off stuff with their franchises. This has been evident with some of the studios they have acquired. They have Molasses Flood. You have to remember, working on something related to one of their existing IPs. That's going to be either The Witcher or Cyberpunk. And it seems like they're interested in doing not smaller games, I guess you would say spin-off games in between their bigger releases. And I think this would be something really cool to see. Maybe it's like a 2D side scroller. I don't know. But this is something that I think adds to a franchise, as long as it's a good game, of course. All right, now it's time to go over your top comment for my most recent Cyberpunk video. Remember, leave your comments down below. Your comment could end up in a future video. So what was my most recent video about? Let's take a look-see, shall we? So it says, brand new 2022 update. CD Projekt RED is secretly developing this. So let's go ahead and take a look at what you guys had to say about this one. We have A. Washington, who goes on to say the following. He says, I know I'm grasping at straws here, but I'm hoping at least one of the story expansions adds more layers to the romances and the life paths. On the life path side, maybe the DLC adds a series of events that reflects your life path, similar to the opening of the game, but adds more depth. On the romance side, it adds a scenario where some mini games in the city, whether already existing or newly implemented, now allow you to include your love interest or friends, Judy, Panda, Mystic, etc. Or you can invite them over to your apartment and a scene plays out that's exclusive to them in similar fashion, to what the Citadel DLC did in Mass Effect 3. Yeah, that would be really cool. Again, will they touch life paths? They've surprised me. They've already touched stuff with the romance and they've added new options there. So perhaps we will see some sort of addition here. Will be major. I don't know. If they do anything with life paths, I personally think it'll be in the big expansions and they will be brand new life paths for us. So that's my personal opinion there. And I want to see a max tack story arc. I want to be able to choose that as my life path. I think that would be so freaking badass. Let me know your opinion on that one. Then we have Sick Fix, who says this. I would like to see Cyberpunk 2077 single player to stay separate and the multiplayer separate is a good idea because some just like single player. Yeah, and once you start merging those things, man, it can really get messy. I hope they have like an offline type option where you don't have to mess with online whatsoever, but I hear exactly what you're saying. Perhaps they can add heist into this game. And if they do it, maybe they could do it like GTA Online where it is a completely separate mode. I think that's the route they would take. And I don't think the current infrastructure of the game can even have multiplayer seamlessly implemented into the world. So I don't think you guys really have to worry about that right now. But then we have MDV who says, I just want more story, more things to interact with, more customization, and last but not least, expanding on the romances. Crying face. Yeah, it seems like a lot of you guys want more romance options. Brennan Gum says, entering the afterlife puts you in an instance with other players where you can get together and take on co-op missions. I love this idea. I think that would be perfect for Cyberpunk, so you can keep playing single player, but when you enter the afterlife, you can choose to do co-op, and then that puts you and your team in the same city or when you exit the afterlife. Yeah, that sounds really cool. Or perhaps, if they can't have it where you're exploring the whole city seamlessly in co-op, which that's what I would prefer, honestly. At least jump into some really cool heist missions together. Maybe have them like with randomized AI so the paths aren't the same when you go into these missions. That's a start, but I'm just going to say, I think CD Projekt RED needs to be very careful with pursuing anything multiplayer. Very, very careful. I mean, it's not entirely needed in my opinion, because just look at Elden Ring. It does have multiplayer, of course, but their success for the most part is with the single player game, in my opinion. But yeah, eventually, hopefully we do see some co-op thrown in there. If they do multiplayer, I personally think go for co-op first and then dive into the PvP stuff way later down the road. But yeah, there it is, everyone. The latest happenings around Cyberpunk 2077. Hopefully we do hear about something regarding free DLC in the future here, in the very near future. I'll let you guys know if they have anything to say, if they schedule any live streams. But remember those dates. We're going to hopefully hear from them, I think, in April, early April or late March, at least, based on what they're going to be doing with their investors. There it is. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you all next time. Take care.